Greetings, this is Ron Smalek, and I am reading The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. It is an excellent book. I'm reading it after having watched the movie, and I wanted to record some of my thoughts chapter by chapter. Alright, so chapter 11 and 12. Chapter 11 starts off at the cornucopia, and it kind of cracked me up both in the book and the movie that there actually was a giant gold cornucopia sitting there in the middle of the field. Um, I wonder if there was like too much stuff there. I guess I know that that sort of spawns the big bloodbath at the beginning, but it seems like might be a little bit too much gear there. Now at this point, I'm almost halfway through the book, and when I was watching the movie, it felt like this was about three-quarters of the way through the movie. So everything up to this point felt like it took a nice long time, and then once the violence and action started, it went very quickly. Here we're only about halfway through the book, so just my perception. There's another great line in this part. So when Katniss runs up and grabs this orange backpack and starts running off into the woods, another girl comes after her and throws a knife. It hits the backpack, and Katniss takes off into the woods. And she kind of jests over her shoulder, "Thanks for the knife," and I just found that to be funny. So it's little lines like that that actually make me feel like I like Katniss more and more. The other thing is this Hunger Games in the book felt like a much larger place than in the movie. It describes Katniss actually jogging for hours, like most of the day, to get away from the cornucopia. And in the movie, when you see some of the visuals with the big dome over their head, and she's kind of up in the tree seeing the dome, it looks like it's a much more smaller, contained area. Um, it's probably just how they had to film it, but in the book they do a really good job of making it feel like a big, huge area. We find out that 11 tributes were killed at the cornucopia right off the bat. I can't. They did an okay job of showing this in the film, but like again, I can't imagine that 24 kids just okay, boom, you all pop up right next to each other, and most of them just start fighting to the fact that 11 of them get killed. And then the other thing that I'm not sure I fully believe is how Peeta got paired up with the careers. I hope that later they reveal like exactly what he said to get in with them in some sort of flashback. Maybe it does say in the book that he had bruises and cuts, so and that he's good with a knife. So maybe he defended one of them to gain their trust. Obviously, they're just bringing him along to find Katniss, and then they're going to turn on him. But I'd really like to see if they were so hardcore and they killed 11 other tributes. How is it that Peeta got hooked up with them? Near the end of chapter 11, Katniss straps herself into a tree to fall asleep, and this is when she sees a campfire in the distance. In chapter 12, we find out that the maker of that campfire, who Katniss is really pissed off at for giving away their position, basically, gets killed by the group of careers that are now the career tributes that are now banded together with Peeta. And I was really surprised in the book because the cannon doesn't go off, so the career tributes say, "Hey, maybe she's not actually dead," and Peeta's the one who says he'll go back and finish her off. And then apparently he does so because he goes off, and then later he comes back and he says it's done, and the cannon goes off. So I don't know if he actually did it or if they're going to do a flashback and reveal what really happened there, because I was surprised that occurred with Peeta. I think there's a slight divergence from the movie here. I could be wrong, so don't flame me on this one. But I thought in the movie at this point, Peeta tells them that she must be near because he saw some of her snares, and I don't. That didn't happen in the book, but I could be mixing up something that happens later. Now this is where it begins pretty much my favorite overall arc in the story, and that's where Katniss is traveling for a couple days. She's surviving off the land. She's kind of exploring, deciding should she go down into the valley or not, scrounging food. Um, I'm just a big fan of books with, survival elements in general. And I just wanted to mention two other books um, that are sort of extreme examples, but one of them is called Dream Park by Larry Niven and Steve Barnes. So look that up if you're interested. This is basically a live action role play book. So it's not the same type of survival, but it's more like a LARP inside of a virtual reality, and and then things happen because it's a book. The other book that I've always really liked about survival is Swiss Family Robinson. If you have seen the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, or if you haven't heard of Swiss Family Robinson, it's a book by Johann David Weiss, and I've always thought it was awesome. It's basically a family that gets shipwrecked on an island, has to build shelter and survive and live, and then at some point they will encounter other characters that they do end up clashing with. And the movie, if you don't want to read the book, go check out the movie. It's the Disney version, not any of the remake versions. It's a lot of fun. It's a great movie. Okay, so back to the Hunger Games, Chapter 12. Katniss finds at this point what she believes to be poisonous berries and passes them by. I think this is also another Chekhov's gun that gets set up for later. And then she finds the pond at the height of her thirst. I felt like the lead up to finding the pond was just a slight bit over dramatic. I'm not sure how long it takes for you to start having some of the effects that she had. Obviously, she must have been out here a couple days and was severely dehydrated. But it always cracks me up when it's like right when the character falls to the ground and it's like making their last grasp, they realize that their hand touches the water and then they get this burst of strength. So it's a little dramatic, but it was fine. And then chapter 12 ends where she realizes a forest fire is coming after her. So that is the recap of chapters 11 and 12, and I will see you next time.